What's up, everybody? Good to see you guys again. Welcome back to another special edition of the Natural Human Diet. We got brains, eyeballs, adrenal gland, and some testicles. I almost said cow testicles, but it's more like steer. Is that what you call it? Beef testicles, I guess? Beef fries. Cowboy caviar. Swinging sirloin, as they call it. I found a local testicle supplier, so I'm getting stocked up. They're pretty good, man. Basically just doing organs and glands today. And I got some goat milk, too. A little special treat. Got some goat milk from Dutch Meadows Farm. I'm really digging the goat milk for those of you guys that are following my exploration in the world of milk. I've went back and forth between A1 and A2 cow's milk, and I've had goat milk one time before, but this is the first time I got about 2 gallons of goat milk, and I'm just drinking the hell out of it to kind of see what it does, what kind of energy I get off of it, and what it does digestion-wise. And yeah, it's digesting very well. The energy I get off it is great, so I highly recommend goat milk. And I think that's probably going to be my go-to milk from here on out. I just got to find a good local supplier. Yeah, it's delicious, man. What's up, T. Moeller, Meat Man, Andy, Victor, Andrew? What's going on? Good to see you guys. Sorry if there was any confusion starting up the stream today. I started up a couple different streams, and I don't know how to explain it. I think they're making it difficult for me to start up streams, or there's some kind of technical difficulty going on. But the last 2 times I've done this now, it's been hard for me to even start up a stream, so I had to kind of go around it, try something new. Hard to explain, but it's not easy doing this stuff. So yeah, I just ate some testicles there, and now I'm going to go for the adrenal gland here. I got this online from North Star Bison, I believe is the supplier. Some good old-fashioned adrenal. I'm just going to swallow it whole. See what it does. And I will start off the stream with letting everybody know we started Primal Food Club. If anybody's interested in joining that, what it's going to be is a way for us to trade food with each other. For some people that can't get access to certain foods, there's a lot of people that have access to raw dairy. There's a lot of people that don't. And there's a lot of people that have access to good things like myself, like eyeballs, brains, testicles. Some people can't get that stuff. So came up with this idea to do a Primal Food Club through the mail. And basically what it's going to be is everybody's going to get on a list. I'm going to email it to everybody once a month, and then everybody's going to know what everybody has to offer, what everybody's looking for. And then everybody can kind of strike deals with each other individually and work out different trades and then mail them to each other through 3-day UPS or 3-day FedEx in a box, preferably styrofoam lined, with bags and dry ice packs inside to keep the food cool. Unless you're cool with just shipping, there's probably a lot of people, including myself, that are fine with just shipping things as long as it's not dead summertime, you can ship things like butter and cheese, without cooling it. You should be fine. But I would say use your discretion with shipping and stuff like that. Probably better off to cool it with ice packs. But I think it's going to work out pretty well because there's a lot of people looking for really just kind of weird, obscure foods. We can send things like high meat to each other. You know what I mean? Like some of us, like myself, that have access to good, essentially vaccine-free, grass-fed liver. I got 2 quarts of liver fermenting right now. So, I could trade some high meat with some people. And that wouldn't need to be cooled at all. We could just throw that in a box and ship it. So it could get pretty interesting. Have I tried lungs? I wanted to try lungs. I dry aged it in my dry ager and it got a little too dry. So I ended up giving it to my dogs and they freaking loved it. But I'm really kind of disappointed in myself that I let myself do that. It was one of those kind of weird foods that I didn't know what to make of it quite yet. So I just kind of threw it in my dry ager in the back of the rack and kind of forgot about it. I really wish I would have tried it because it's one of those things that if I have any kind of damaged organ in my body, it's my lungs, because I smoked cigarettes for 10 years and smoked cannabis and all sorts of shit. So, yeah, that's how that works. What's going on, Victor? Send raw butter and cheese from France, for sure. Yeah, I would like to get this thing internationally, too. That would be nice. Because I know you guys probably have some really interesting cheeses and stuff over there. Good stuff. What's up, Adabeth and Camille? So far, Adabeth, everybody, I got like 16 people so far on my register on the list, and everybody has been like pretty loyal watchers and subscribers of my channel. So I don't think we have to really worry about that kind of stuff. I mean, most people are looking for rotten foods anyway, right? Chicken Jar says, I've been watching McAfee on Jesse's show. Yeah, he's a madman. It's kind of annoying because he's always drunk. I think McAfee invented viruses, and then he invented antivirus software. And then he invented more viruses after that in order to reinforce the sales of his software. Isn't that crazy? It's kind of the same thing that like vaccine pushers do. You know what I'm saying? Because like antivirus software is basically like a vaccine for your computer. I'm pretty sure that's what they do, man. Because have you noticed that like computer viruses like aren't a thing anymore? Like nobody gets viruses. Were they ever a thing? You know what I'm saying? Like, then you had like the whole Y2K scare and stuff like that. Was it all bullshit? You know what I mean? Was it all a way for like people like McAfee to sell software? You ever think about that? I read that. I did not come up with that theory on my own. I heard that, or I read that theory one time, and it made perfectly sense, dude. Because like people like I don't trust that guy McAfee. I don't know, man. There's something way off with that dude. You know what I'm saying? Like he moved to like the jungles and was like just lived with a bunch of prostitutes and like was cooking drugs in the jungle and stuff. Like I don't trust people that live life like that. You know what I mean? That's just no way to live. And so I wouldn't put it past the guy that he actually like scammed the whole world with viruses. I'm interested to see what kind of questions that he asked of Jesse. What's up, Darius? New developments with the testy ingestion. Well, I had a really good experience just with a good testosterone boost that first week that I got that whole bag of testes. And then my supplier, it's kind of hit and miss, unfortunately. I was hoping I was going to get like a bag every week. But luckily, I found a second supplier. But these are unfortunately frozen. So now I have a frozen supplier. I have a fresh supplier. So I'm going to have testes for days. And these guys will actually sell me like a case of this stuff. So I'll be able to buy like a case of testes and kind of do like a proper experiment. But I plan on eating, honestly, man, like mostly brains and testicles for most of my diet. And I'll slip in a little muscle meat, a little bit of fat, a little bit of cheese and butter and stuff like that for some fat. But I'm going to stick to mostly organs and just a little bit of muscle meat and see what that does to me. What's up, Carnivore Life? Who's that? I don't know who that is. I don't know who you're talking about. Never heard of the guy. Haven't aired out my jar of beef liver in like a week or two. What are the signs that the high liver is no good? I don't know what to say anymore about that, man, because I know people that don't even air out their high liver. As far as I know, you're supposed to air it out every 3 to 4 days. That's what I used to do, and that's what I still do, and it works out fine. But I would say I honestly don't know the signs if high liver is no good. I honestly don't know, man. I've never had high liver go bad. You're going to have to use your own discretion on that. But I can tell you that I know multiple people that have literally never popped the jar on their liver, and they ate it anyways. And they were fine. So, use your discretion. Do what you want. I would say, just to be safe on things, always air it out every 3 to 4 days, because that's what I was initially told about high meat, in order to keep the bacteria from turning anaerobic. But I suspect that that's only something that's really imperative to do at the very beginning of making high meat, so the bacteria doesn't turn anaerobic right away. I think once the bacteria turns aerobic, it's hard for it to turn back to anaerobic. So as long as you're airing it out for a while, I think it's going to be really hard for it to go bad after that. So I'm just kind of speculating a little bit based on what everybody's told me that doesn't air it out. It's probably the zinc really lights up your balls. It might be the zinc. It might be the fact that you're literally eating raw testosterone too, raw hormones. I think the zinc probably helps out too, for sure. T. Morris's raw primal for kids is incredible. Our toddlers are already fluent in 3 languages, and we'll start them on the 4th now. They learn at home. I felt the diet and lack of screens speeds things up a lot. It has to. I mean, I feel like my brain operates on a way higher level now than when I started this diet, and I'm in my 30s, you know what I mean? I can't imagine being a kid when your brain is still developing and you're going through like neurogenesis and you're creating new neurons and stuff like that every single day. That this diet would be amazing for, especially eating brains. Do you feed your kids brains, T. Moeller? I think that would be one of like the best things you could ever feed your kid, because I still have the most intense dreams on brains. It's obviously doing something to my brain. We tried bull scrotum. I don't know if that little covering on the testicles is the scrotum or not. I don't think that's the scrotum, but I don't think I have. Cole Slice, how much will your monthly food bill go up? Not too much. Let me think about that. No, it'll be about the same. I pay about the same for testicles as I do like grass-fed beef and stuff like that. Victor says, yeah, it's the same thing they always do. The problem solution scheme. Have something you want to sell, create the problem that'll have people demand for that solution. Isn't that crazy? Once I made that revelation about antivirus software, I was like, that makes so much sense, dude. Because there were so many freaking viruses. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you look, I remember when I first started getting on computers in the 90s and stuff, there was like, you could like find a list of viruses that were out there, and it was like pages and pages and pages of all these viruses, and it was like, who the hell is making all this shit? You know what I mean? And why would you just sit around like a little nerd and make viruses? Ooh, that's so fun. When there's already like a million of them out there, right? And I just, now that I'm like older and I understand how the world works and there's deception involved in everything, including business, it was like, these guys for sure hired like hackers to create viruses, for sure. And then sell software. Like, oh, you better watch out. There's a new virus, the Andromeda virus or whatever is coming out next week, and it's going to blow up all the computers. You better get some virus software. I would think preserving liver would be best. Theoretically, the bacteria might consume the precious water, soluble vitamins. Wouldn't it be best to use high muscle meat for probiotics, or do organs make more? I don't know. It's a good question, man. All I know is that high liver is supposedly the best tasting. So I think that's why people do that. And it's real high in vitamin K. I don't know, man. We really need to do a lot of like actual studies on rotten meat. Because there's a lot of questions like that like science science is good for, and we can honestly answer that way and find out what exactly happens when you ferment meat, you know? John Stream says, Wes, I finally got the balls. Sweet. Testicles here are dirt cheap. Got 2 pairs and a dick for $1. That's pretty cheap, dude. That's really cheap. Can you get that pretty consistently then? That's a hell of a deal if you can get that consistently. T. Miller says, yes, for now they have cow brain milkshake with some honey. They find the texture weird. I guess I won't eat it plain. Oh, that's great. You're such a good parent. I'm so convinced. I've been eating brains every day for, I don't know, a month or two now. And I'm just convinced that brains are like one of the best things in the world you could eat. I feel great. And what it does to my dreams is like unbelievable. Like, it's just, I have the most insane vivid dreams. I know people hate hearing about dreams, but I'm gonna tell you my dream anyways that I had today. Sorry for you guys that hate dreams. I promise it's cool though. So eating these brains gives me these types of dreams, right? So like, I was in this like underground cave, but it was like vast, right? And it had really high ceilings, and there was like water, right? Like aqua blue water everywhere. It was like a water reservoir, giant high cave ceilings. And then when you looked beyond the ceiling, there was like a forest, like a rolling forest. So it was almost like to get to the cave, you went down this forest, and then there was like this like overhang, rock overhang with water underneath it. And we were inside of this thing walking around, me and some people. And all of a sudden I looked over towards the forest area in the back of the cave, like towards the back of the cave, and it started getting like a fiery, dark, sort of sinister look to it. It almost looked like a fire. And I just remember getting this kind of bad feeling. And I remember walking over to somebody else that was in our group, and he was looking over towards the forest area as it was turning orange. And we just had this really bad feeling. And then all of a sudden I saw a bunch of indigenous people falling off the cliff, and they fell down into the forest. Like a couple of them looked like they actually died. And then we realized at that very moment that there was like some people hunting them. So someone was hunting the indigenous people, and they were running, and they ran them off the cliff, and they fell down into the forest. And then at that moment, we had all these indigenous people running after us. So we were like running through the cave. There was indigenous people running after us with spears. And I remember like dodging and ducking like all the indigenous people. And then they like hit me with a spear, and I fell in the water. And it was just like, just an insane dream, man. Like, and this is all from eating brains. I never had dreams like this before at all. Just an extremely vivid, colorful, detailed. You know, I could see everything on the indigenous people's bodies, including all the markings on their faces, and just wild shit, man. But something with these brains is like doing something to my brain. Like, I don't know if it's detoxifying my brain or if it's just adding neurotransmitters and hormones and stuff. But or maybe it's like human growth hormone or something like that. I don't know what it is, but I would really love to do experiments on that and figure out, like, do like MRI scans on people's brains while they're dreaming and eating brains and stuff. John Stream says, I don't know if I can get them consistently. They disappear randomly at the meat section of my supermarket. Dude, talk to the butcher. Talk to the butcher, man. That's the best way to get hookups on weird food, is just start talking to people, you know? Start putting yourself out there, being like, hey, man, I really need some balls, bro. Can you give me some balls? Just, ask them where they get them, or ask them if they can get you like a case of them or something like that, and people will help you out, man, for sure. Some butchers will even refer you to farmers. I've had butchers do that. Like, it's really easy to connect in the farm world. People, because it's almost like it's like a word of mouth thing, you know, how all this stuff gets around. What's up, E-Man? Hey, I haven't seen you in a while, buddy. Good to see you. I'm doing well, thank you. Hope you're doing well yourself, buddy. Johnny says, explaining dreams to people who didn't experience that dream just doesn't work. I know, it never works. People hate hearing about dreams. But it's just the idea that I would never just tell you guys my dreams if it didn't have something to do with nutrition. It definitely has something to do with these brains I'm eating, for sure. So if you want sweet dreams, eat raw brains. Victor says, had an idea today. Since I'm addicted to kefir, could I just live from dairy if I wanted to? If I could still make gains from that, I'd just drink milk. Haha, I have a supply, it's pretty cheap. I think you can live off milk, for sure. You might find some slight energy issues without eating raw meat, though, I would suspect, like red meat. I really think red meat is like a big part of your diet because of just the iron and stuff and the energy you get from digesting raw meat that you don't necessarily get from dairy. But dairy has all your fat-soluble vitamins, it's got all your minerals. You could live off that for sure. It just depends on kind of what you're going to be utilizing it for, you know what I mean? I don't know if you could become like a bodybuilder on raw dairy, but you could survive off it for sure. Hey, thanks for the super chat, Dell. Hey, Weston, this video is great. Thank you for all that you do. Thanks, man. I appreciate the support. Yeah, I like doing this and talking to you guys about this stuff, and I think we got something really cool coming out of this, man. We got this Primal Food Club. If anybody's interested, join the Primal Food Club. Email me. We're going to start trading food with each other. It's going to get really cool because it'll be kind of a hassle for some people because you're going to have to like styrofoam the box. You're going to have to get ice packs. It's really only going to be worth it if you do like a fairly large shipment. But the good thing about it is that we're creating like a database and a network across the country so you can get people closer to you, right? Right now, it's like the only way we can get these foods like raw butter and shit for a lot of us is like we have to order it from Pennsylvania, right? Well, what if you could get raw butter, you know, if you were living in, I don't know, like New Mexico, and you could order it from Arizona, or I don't know what all states have illegal, but what if you could order it from a neighboring state and you could cut your shipping down by like $20-$30, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's only $20, $25, but it's still, you're saving money on food. And there's also ways that just you could, if someone has some food that you're looking for, you could just, you know, strike a deal with them and throw them some cash and they'll just send you some food. If you're looking for some high meat, you know, maybe you could just find somebody that's fermenting meat all the time and you could just buy high meat off of them. You know, we could get very creative with this, and we could find a way to exchange many, many different types of foods with each other. And the good thing about it is it's totally legal. It's legal in the sense that this is like a food club and we're just trading food with each other. There's really going to be no... the idea is not to have any kind of cash transactions. You're basically just trading with each other. So, you know, there's no monetary gain. There's no brick and mortar warehouse that's storing the food. So, like, you know, the cops can't come raid you or anything like that. It's all just going to be A to B, personal transactions between people. And that's really something that is protected by the Constitution, you know. What about brain ice cream? It sounds pretty good. Randy says, if I take zinc before bed, I get crazy vivid dreams. That's interesting. Cole Slice says, any talent for drawing? Maybe pick it up so you can draw the details in your dreams. Super fun. I would love to learn how to draw, man. I can draw a little bit, but not really. But more better at music. I'm more better at musical arts. I have more of like an ear for sound than I do an eye for visual art. Victor says, gonna try more brains. I had one last week and felt insanely lucid and funny. That dream is interesting. Why do you feel it means? I don't know. I don't know if dreams have meanings or not, to be honest with you. I think dreams might just... I honestly don't know. I often run into old friends in my dreams too. What it feels like is it's a different dimension, and it feels like that person's actually there, you know? Sometimes I feel like dreams are actually a different dimension. It's not necessarily that the dreams mean something. They mean exactly what they are. Like, whatever your dream portrays, that's what it means. You know what I mean? But I think I don't know, I can only speculate. But I feel like dreams are actually a different dimension that we exist in. You need iron, dairy does not have enough. I think that's what it is. Did you trim your beard and shave? I do a little bit of trimming, yeah. I like to trim the sides so it doesn't get all gnarly sticking out, I try to leave it as much as I can, but yeah, ideally, I did a little research on beard trimming now that I started to grow kind of a gnarly beard, and you want to kind of shape it to your face depending on what kind of face you have. So if you have like a longer face, you're supposed to shape your beard into a little more of a square. If you have like a really square face, then you want to shape your beard into a longer type thing, right? So it's all about just creating more symmetry, basically, like, because, symmetry in nature is ideal, you know what I mean? So I try to keep it a little more squared out. I try to keep the sides a little more squared out because I tend to have like a little bit of a longer, sort of a narrower face. So if I square my beard out, it makes my whole head kind of symmetrical. That's the idea, a little beardology for y'all. It's definitely a skill you work on though, for sure. You got to get some nice trimmers and things like that. Scissors. Past life dream? Maybe. Yeah. How have you been since the last stream? I've been good, man. Life's been great. I'm currently in the process of switching occupations right now, so that's going quite well. Can't complain, man. Life just continues to get better, you know what I mean? Like, I experience no pitfalls, no real downsides to life anymore. It's just, I don't know, man. I feel very positive and grateful. What's up, Jonathan Pernice? Having the time of your life at work? Sweet. Wearing that COVID mask? Nice. Grass-fed Wagyu. Yummy. Do you believe in working out? Yeah. I just got done lifting weights. Yeah, I do believe in working out. Yeah. It's one thing there's a couple things I disagree with on Aajonus about. One thing is fasting, another thing is working out. Another thing is drinking water. I don't understand that either. Like, in the summertime, I drink shitloads of water. So I don't understand where that whole idea comes from. Excuse me. As I get a dry throat. Where the whole idea comes from that you're not supposed to work out or you're not supposed to drink water. I have an incredible urge to lift weights and stuff like that. But you got to be realistic about it, and you got to follow your body. That's the key. With weightlifting, what I like to do, and the natural pattern that I have fallen into with weightlifting, is I lift really hard and I train for about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then I take like 2 weeks off. Because I just don't feel like lifting anymore. It's weird. So I just follow my instincts, and that's what I do. And I'm not trying to become a bodybuilder. I'm not trying to become the biggest guy in the world. But I can put on a pretty good amount of muscle in a couple, 2-3 weeks of training, and then I let my body heal up for a couple weeks, and then I go back in, And I balance that out with riding my bike. Riding my bike is one of the funnest things I love to do, especially in the summertime. I love taking my shirt off, riding my bike for about an hour, 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours. I get sunshine, I get cardio, I get good muscle workouts in my thighs. I got really big legs, so I need like a good muscle workout. And I think I'll always train. That's just in my genetics. I got a bunch of extreme athletes in my family, so it's kind of in my blood to do that. If I would have probably redone my life over, I would have become a professional athlete for sure, especially knowing about this diet now. If I would have known about this diet when I was doing sports, I would have for sure become a pro athlete for sure, because I have all of the natural kind of athletic skill for it, but I just never had the energy. You know what I mean? It's weird. It was all because of my diet. So, I think athletics and working out and lifting weights it's a very healthy hobby to do. It's very good, man. But just be realistic about it, you know what I mean? You don't have to work out every single day. That's ridiculous. I don't work out every single day. I think that's stupid. At least walk every day, but you don't have to do training every day. Where's the Trump shirt? It's hanging up. I'll bust it out again for sure. Gotta troll the gammas. No fat plus balls plus oysters for extreme testosterone boost. Cole Slice, this first time I tried trimming my beard and hair, I messed up and had to go with the neo-Nazi look. Save a lot of money. The neo-Nazi look. Hey, nothing wrong with that, man. Nothing wrong with that. Wolf Shans, West, you said you have worked in carpentry. How many hours were a typical project day? It really depended. What's cool about working in carpentry, if you're working with the people I was working with, it was just one guy. So it was a friend of mine. So it was a really cool deal, man. We would just meet up at his house at like 10 in the morning. We would cook breakfast. We would eat like scrambled eggs and just sit down and have a nice breakfast. And then we would go to work when we felt like working. And then we would work, probably, honestly, man, probably 6 hours a day. Sometimes 8, but we would work probably about 6 hours a day. 6-7 hours a day. I'm not really sold on the 8-hour workday, man. I've spent many years of my life never working 40 hours. I've had many jobs where I only worked like 30, 32 hours, and I was like pretty happy doing that. I think working 8 hours a day for 5 days a week is too much. I really do. But unfortunately, that's some kind of weird standard that we have. I think it's more realistic to work about 32, 35 max. But yeah, if you get in with if you find like a good person to work for that can make you like an apprentice, you could probably get away with working, 6 to 8 hours a day. You just work at your own schedule. And it kind of just depends on what you're doing and what kind of project you're doing, you know what I mean? Like, some days you're going to be just like demolishing, like demolition work, Like if you have to redo someone's like entryway, you got to demolish the entryway, right? That could take you maybe only 3-4 hours, you know what I'm saying? You're not going to start rebuilding the entryway right after you demolish it. You're just going to work 3 to 4 hours that day. You're going to demolish the entryway. You're going to clean it up, put it in trash bags, throw it in the back of your truck, and then you're going to go home. And then the next day, you'll start rebuilding the entryway. So it's just, there's certain like sections of projects like that where you're only going to work like 4 hours. There's some days where if you, let's say you're like building a deck or something, and you're getting on a roll, you got all your lumber sitting right there, and you got all your nails, and there's 2 of you, and it's a nice day out, you might work 8 hours straight, just nailing boards down. So it just depends on kind of like what kind of flow you got going. Anyone tried sunbathing your testicles? Yeah, I used to actually do that naturally. Isn't that weird? I used to bathe my testicles in my apartment with my door open, or my balcony open. I don't know why I tried doing that one day, but it was like my body was telling me that like your nuts need some sun. Yeah, Aajonus said we should live to be 150. Exactly. It's really fascinating, man. So we're supposed to live 7 times our age of maturation. It's very interesting stuff. Cool. Yeah, carpentry is a good gig, man. It's cool because you learn all sorts of weird stuff. A house is pretty complicated. Once you look at how a house is built, it's like pretty fascinating. Like especially when you get into stuff like doors and windows, like that's when it gets like a total pain in the ass. Like installing a window in a house, installing a door inside of a door frame, that stuff gets a little tricky. Sometimes you get like really cool projects too, man. We worked for this guy one time. He worked for the Department of Defense. His last name was Kennedy. And we did this like project for him where we installed a safe room for him. So we knocked out a hole in the back of his closet. And then we built a gigantic closet inside the back of his closet. And then there was a door on the other far wall of the closet we built that went into his garage. And it was on the top of his garage. Like, the garage had like a peak like this, like a little truss and like a peak. And then down here, the cars were parked. And up here was this closet we built, and you could go out and you could walk above the garage. It was really strange, man. But it was like one of the weirdest projects that we did. And I just found it really weird. The guy worked for the Department of Defense. His last name was Kennedy. And he had us build this like safe room. It was very strange. Yeah, 5 o'clock to 7 p.m. is nuts, dude. Yeah, that's crazy. That's too many hours, dude. What do I think about parasites, bacteria? I think it's all supposed to be in your body. Like there's a lot of natural parasites and bacteria that are in your body, but it's supposed to be there if it's in there. Basically, like, you only get parasites if you eat, like, too many grains, like a grain-heavy diet and stuff like that. And so what those parasites are going to do is it's going to, like, digest some of that food that you can't digest, you know? And so if you don't have those parasites in there, it's like you're going to get an accumulation of, like, dead tissue and, like, stuff that you can't digest. That's what the parasites are doing, is it's helping you, like, get rid of waste and stuff. So it's not really a bad thing to have a parasite in that sense. But there is probably something that you did to make yourself unhealthy in order for that parasite to be thriving in your body, if that makes sense, right? But once that parasite gets in there, you're going to want that parasite because it's in there for a reason, you know? So it just depends on, you just got to look at the whole situation. You can't really judge it as like a good or bad thing, you know? You can't judge like God's, any creation of God as like all good or all bad, you know what I mean? Because it's like, it's not really our job to do that, you know? Like you can't look at plants and drugs and plant medicines and things like that and say it's all good, it's all bad, you know, because it all depends on how you use it, what kind of context it's in. And the same thing goes for parasites and bacteria and stuff like that. It all depends on the context. Like when you look at like bacteria that thrives inside of like sewage and stuff like that, it's like, yeah, it's supposed to be in sewage because it's helping like decompose all of that sewage and stuff, but it shouldn't be in your drinking water, you know what I mean? So you can't really say it's all good or all bad because it's got like a purpose inside of sewage, but it does not have a purpose inside your body, if that makes sense. So you got to kind of get away from the whole binary thinking, you know, parasites are all good, parasites are all bad, bacteria. It's all got this like symbiotic relationship with each other. Hey Wes, when you fasted for a few days, did you feel like you lost some muscle? Kind of interested in trying. No, I feel like I just lost fat. I actually feel like I gained muscle. I believe fasting is actually anabolic. I believe it actually helps you produce muscle. So you'll notice that you'll actually tone up and get a little bit more muscular. You lose fat though. You lose fat for sure. You lose about 1 pound a day. So, what's up, Reef Guzzler? How's your Friday going? It's going very well. Just enjoying my BBC diet, brains, balls, and cheese. Getting a nice boost though. I'm feeling pretty peppy from this adrenal gland and balls. I'm starting to really enjoy organs, man. Like, I'm starting to really understand why certain people stress organs. It's not just about liver, guys. Everybody's all about, oh, raw liver this, raw liver that. Guys, liver is just the tip of the iceberg. Let me tell you, when you start getting into eyeballs, brains, testicles, now you're getting into the meat and potatoes of the organ world. Let me tell you, liver is good. Don't get me wrong. It's got some nice vitamins in it, but it doesn't have shit on brains and balls. Nothing. Brains and balls is where it's at, man. I'm going to 100% eat this stuff the rest of my life. Everyone is trying to think of a new tech company, but whoever starts a raw dairy farm and starts pumping out raw butter is the actual unicorn company. I know, isn't that strange? And it's like, it makes itself. It just comes out of the cow or the goat's udders, and you just put it in a jar, stir it around a little bit, and you got butter. It's so freaking easy, man. I can't wait. I can't freaking wait, man. Feeling peppy from these adrenals and balls. Yeah, and I haven't even drank my goat milk yet. This stuff has got a good energy boost too. I haven't even eaten my balls yet, or my brains yet. About a pound of balls right there. And they're getting like better tasting the more I eat these things. Testicles are pretty good, man. Like a scallop. Yeah, organs is where it's at, dude. Organs feel like they're the most nutrient dense. They contain like the most hormones. I think that's really what it's all about, guys. Is it's about getting hormones in, you know? Because as you age and as you accumulate damage throughout your life on your organs, what really starts to get affected is your hormones. And that's like one of the driving forces of your behavior and your mood and everything. Once you start getting some good hormones in your body, some good raw hormones, that's when life starts to get fun again, man. Nice little I believe this is a sheep brain. Sometimes I get a mixture of heads in my bag, so I just kind of pull the head out. But usually, obviously, the bigger heads are the sheep brains, and the smaller ones are the goats. Weston, are you going to make brain ice cream? That probably would not be a bad idea because the cream from the ice cream nourishes your brain and your nervous system, and the brain would help do some stuff too at the same time. I'll have to make some ice cream again. I'm taking a break from cow cream and milk and stuff like that, but I might go hit my farmer up here in a week or so, get some cream and some milk, and maybe make some ice cream again. I'm feeling so good off of cow's milk, but I got to tell you, whatever nutrients are in this goat milk, or just in milk in general, I think I was missing something, because I feel just really good. Like last night, I was just feeling like, it wasn't like a feeling, it was just like a satiation, like at peace, you know? Whatever's in that milk, maybe it was the cream, maybe it was the micronutrients or the minerals or whatever. My body, I think, really responded well to that, because I drank about 3 glasses last night and just felt amazing last night. Really great today. Had great sleep last night. So I think after going off of milk for about 2 to 3 weeks, I think I do feel better on milk, but it just depends on what kind of milk. I think it's the goat milk. I really do. Aajonus undervalued organs. Yeah, he did a little bit, didn't he? It's very interesting. It's interesting that Aajonus... Did you guys know that Aajonus was a Scientologist? I just learned this from somebody yesterday, man. I know someone in California that's a part of his food club that he started the food club that my friend is in, and she was talking to one of the people that runs it, and she's a Scientologist, and she started telling my friend about how Aajonus was a Scientologist. Did you guys know that? I did not know that, man. I find that kind of strange, to be honest with you, but I definitely find there's some things about Aajonus a little bit disturbing and strange, like the fact that he has a recipe for abortion in his book We Want to Live. I find that really disturbing, but I try to look past that stuff and just kind of take his nutrition stuff for what it is, move on, you know. But I'm not going to sit here and obsess the rest of my life about the guy. It's like, he's helped me immensely with my diet, let's put it that way. But there's some personal things about him that I find interesting. Yeah, he's a Scientologist. Kind of weird, but and she also said that he puts references to it in his book We Want to Live, if you pay attention. And I asked her what she meant by that, and she said something like he says something about like flying around the world or the universe or something like that, and I was just like, that's pretty interesting stuff. That sucks, you're losing your raw dairy. Connect. I just swallowed the adrenal gland straight. Whole slices, yeah, I was pretty turned off by that as well. Yeah, that whole abortion recipe thing in his book was like, what the fuck, man? Like, you didn't have to put that in there. That was very strange. Reef Guzzler, I have as well been phasing in and out of dairy consumption. I think I also feel better off of it as far as my energy, but at the same time, I think dairy can be so beneficial to a damaged gut. Yeah, and it's great for like cream for the brain. It's very nourishing to the brain. What other disturbing things? To be honest with you, and I know a lot of people will probably disagree with me about this. A lot of people actually praise him for this, but I find the fact that he had like multiple girlfriends and like was basically like a womanizer, like I find that pretty disturbing as well, because every person that I've ever known that's been like a womanizer, that's lived a lifestyle like that, has been like a deeply disturbed person, because there's a reason that people are chasing pleasure and satisfaction through sexual activity. And so I found that really really disturbing too. But a lot of people glorify him for that, for having all these like so-called girlfriends and stuff like that, but I don't personally find that as a virtuous endeavor. I find that as a sign of like a deeply disturbed person. What's a Scientologist? You gotta look it up, yeah. It's a weird religion, man, where they want your money and they like make you pay to like get to certain levels and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, guys, I'm not judging Aajonus or anything like that, but it's the fact that he promoted this shit. I don't care what people do in their personal life, you know what I mean? But there's certain things that are just wrong, and when you're pushing them out, when you're bragging about them and pushing that out, and you're writing them in your books and stuff like that, that's when I gotta kind of point out, like, hey guys, this is like, we're getting it a little bit off here, off target, you know. T. Moore says maybe it's not to have another abortion. You know what? I'll go get the book. Let's go get the book. Hang on. Yeah, so when I first read this, it's on page 333 of We Want to Live. It's called Family Planning. When I first read this, I thought it was how to avoid a miscarriage, right? Like what not to eat if you want to avoid a miscarriage, which is good to know. But the way he words this is he's trying to help people abort their children. He says, family planning, drink 8 tablespoons of fresh papaya seeds blended with half cup of good drinking water twice daily. For 18 days has caused miscarriage and up to 8 weeks of pregnancy. I don't even want to say this, honestly, on the internet so people don't get any ideas. But he says basically eating plenty of certain foods increase the incidence of miscarriage but has a tendency to make women irritable. So right there he's indicating that this is like some sort of recipe and it could have side effects like making you irritable. He gives another example of what you can eat. Some different things you can eat sometimes cause miscarriage. And it's like, the thing is, it's exact recipes. It's like 1 cup plus half a cup of mineral water. It's not just like, avoid eating moldy berries. You know what I mean? He's just like telling you exactly what to eat and the exact measurements. This is like not good stuff here. This is like how to kill babies. Here's another example. He gives you another recipe on what to eat. Blah, blah, blah. He tells you like how to position your body. Vigorously rubbing certain kinds of oils on you. Blah, blah, blah. Regardless of how miscarriage may occur, have remedies for hemorrhage ready. Like, come on, man. Like that. Dude. And then, on top of that, I mean, yeah, and he was like a womanizer, and he completely devalued the family unit by promoting that type of stuff. And he also talked a lot of shit on his own son at his lectures and stuff. Like, his son was like a drug addict. He was like a crack addict. And he was like telling that to everybody at his lectures. And now you have like me and like thousands of people all over the world that listen to his lectures, and we get to hear that about his son. We get to hear him say, yeah, my son is a crack addict, and just like airing out all of his son's dirty laundry at his seminars. I don't know, man. I just pick your gurus wisely, guys. I don't think anybody should ever have a guru, ever have a teacher or a leader or anything like that. I think the only leader you should have is God, and follow God's will and his, his messages. But, hey, he's got some good nutritional advice, but I don't know about the other stuff. Yeah, Raw Primal Retreat would be fun. I'm thinking about doing something like that. I'm working on doing the Raw Primal Club right now. And then eventually maybe doing some sort of like a camping trip or something like that would be really fun. Invite a bunch of people out and we could have a good time, man. Did you guys see that squirt on me? That eyeball squirting all over me. And again, guys, I will repeat, I'm not judging. It's really none of my business, but Aajonus made it my business by writing this stuff in his books and talking about it in his lectures. So if he would have just kept his mouth shut, I wouldn't know any of this shit. You know what I mean? Story time, exactly. Story time, kids. Marcus, do you read many books? Can you recommend a couple concerning health? Oh yeah, I can recommend quite a few, man. Read Fasting and Man's Correct Diet by R.B. Pearson. Read, as far as like spiritual health, read Gospel of the Red Man, the Indian Bible. It's a very, very good book. Read Nutrition and Physical Degeneration by Weston Price. Read, let's see, what's another good one? Dissolving Illusions by Suzanne Humphries is one of the best books on vaccines and disease, the history of disease that you'll ever read. It's not just about vaccines, it's about like the history of all diseases and stuff. It's very fascinating. I got like 15, 20, 30 books I'm behind on right now. But that's a few to get you started, for sure. Pottinger's Cats, it's a good one. Everyone has good and bad qualities, that's for sure. Yeah, exactly. It's just when people start to get into highly influential positions and leadership positions is when you got to start being a little bit critical of people, of what they're telling the world, you know? Get a gallon of raw sheep's milk and a pint of sheep's cream and add it to the milk. It's like better than goat's milk. I really want to try sheep's milk. Can't find adrenal glands anywhere. Go to North Star Bison. They got bison adrenals. Jonathan says I work 10 hours days and it's balls. You get more done working 5 to 8 hours a day, for sure. Yeah, 10 hours is nutty. But sometimes I wonder if working 4 days for 10 hours would be better than 5 for 8. I don't know. Andrew says I didn't notice the abortion thing in the book. That's jacked up. Yeah, it's super jacked up, dude. That along with like the Scientology stuff, it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know. That's why you should never have a guru, never have a leader. Only trust God, man. He's the only guy you can truly rely on. Because humans are just flawed, you know? Cole Slice, my friends and I went to a Scientology church first day of freshman year of college. Weird vibe, and they made us all fill out a bunch of questionnaires and psychoanalyze us. That's so weird, dude. Organized religion is so strange, and Scientology is like one of the weirdest. Founded by L. Ron Hubbard, the most prolific science fiction author of all time. He's wrote more science fiction books than anybody that's ever lived. And then he designed a religion. And you're supposed to just follow his religion and just ignore the fact that he wrote a million science fiction books? Come on, man. What's up, Maven? Did I say page 333? That's crazy. Was that page 333? Get out of here. You know what also I noticed today on my channel? I got 66,666 views. I did say 333. That is messed up, dude. You guys are getting into me you're getting me into this numerology shit. I'm gonna sound like a super quack to all my friends. Yeah, Aajonus, I believe he talked about all this stuff. He had a very horrible relationship with his kid's mom. And so I think he learned a very valuable lesson about, you know, just starting a family the right way. You know what I mean? It's very important, man, that you start a family the right way. That you don't have sex with a bunch of women outside of marriage like he promoted. Because that's how you get into super fucked up situations like Aajonus got in. You know what I mean? He didn't learn his lesson, man. Like, I know so many guys that had kids outside of marriage, and they're miserable, man. They're miserable today because the women have custody of the child, and you know, they get manipulated through the whole transaction of the child going back and forth, and just they don't get to be with their kid. The court system always sides with the mother and not the father, and just it's a nightmare, dude. And for someone to go through that and then not wake up and go, you know what, maybe it's not a good idea just to have random sex with people and potentially expose myself to having a child with a random person and putting myself through this very same situation again. It's probably one of the most foolish things you could ever do in your whole life, and people just do it all the freaking time. It's amazing. Yeah, I just stopped reading it, Dell. Yeah, I couldn't do it. I don't want to give that information out. He was missing some spiritual knowledge for sure, Dolores. That's exactly what it is. He was very much into his knowledge and intellect. And we are spirits, we're not brains. So you can't ignore the spirit. You can feed your knowledge all you want. You can feed your intellect all you want, but all that does is feed your ego. And when you're feeding your ego, you're getting further away from God. So yeah, Aajonus was very much into his intellect, for sure. Thoughts on man whoring? It's an unhealthy lifestyle, man. Every guy that I've ever known that has been like an extreme womanizer, like I wouldn't say I was an extreme womanizer or anything like that, but I was definitely like fairly promiscuous in my 20s. And I wasn't the happiest person, and that was like an kind of an example of that. And but I knew people that were like 5 times more promiscuous than I was, and they were super unhealthy people, man. And they're unhappy as hell today, you know. It's one of the most destructive things I think you could do to your life besides alcoholism is like whoring yourself out. The Bronze Book Age Mindset is a great one, super masculine, well written. Interesting, I'll remember that. The book Bronze Age Mindset. I'll look that up, man. I'll remember that. I love book ideas. I just like to collect them and throw them on my mantle, and just I'll get to them when I get to them. Sheep milk's more expensive than cocaine. Yeah, depends on how good your cocaine connect is, though, huh? Cole Slice, I'm reading E. Michael Jones' book on the history of ultimate reality. Some heavy reading, but full of eye-opening stuff. He's great, dude. E. Michael Jones is great. The history of ultimate reality. I need to get some of his books, dude. I'm so behind on reading. I don't have time, man. Shit. The thing is, though, is I crushed a bunch of books the last few years, and I'm just like, I'm taking a break, dude. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you just knock out books, and since I've started this diet, I've probably read, I don't know, 25, 30 books, something like that. Like, a lot of freaking books, man. I'm ready to just chill out, let it soak in. 3 days off is nice, but you have 4 days that are ruined. That's true, your days are totally ruined with 10 hours. You work 9 hours, 6 days, then 3 days off. That's an interesting schedule. Where's the proof you was a Scientologist? Well, it was anecdotal, but this is coming secondhand from somebody that is a member of his food club that he created, and got all of this information from one of the people that's running his food club today as we speak in California. So this information I got yesterday from someone that got the information from the head of Aajonus' food club. But it makes a lot of sense because I knew he wasn't Christian, and I didn't really see any good evidence of him that he had like a God in his life. But he seemed like kind of spiritual or something, like he had some sort of belief, something. But he didn't really name it, you know what I mean? He never named it, and I thought that was just kind of interesting. I knew there was something. He was after something, or he was into something. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's true. I don't know why whoever this lady is that runs his food club in California, I don't understand why. I'm not going to say her name because my friend told me to remain her anonymous or keep her anonymity. But I don't see why she would just go into an hour or two conversation with my friend and just make up a bunch of shit about Scientology, about Aajonus. She was telling her the truth for sure. And she even quoted some parts of the book where it's in his book, We Want to Live. Scientology does have some interesting concepts of psychology, but the sci-fi stuff is whack as fucks, for sure. Yeah, I think like any religion, it's going to have some moments of clarity and insight and stuff like that. But yeah, it's intermingled with a bunch of horse shit. I just recognize the numerology if I see it, but I leave it at that. Yeah, I start to recognize it a lot too. We have a lot of times we have 33 viewers here too. I always assumed his sexual side came from being in the company of so many tribal people. African tribes share women. Yeah, maybe. I think it just depends, you know. I know Native Americans didn't do that type of shit, and Native Americans were like, from what I've researched about Native Americans, they were very, very good people, man. And they had a very, very sound, happy, peaceful society that functioned very well. And they would like kill women that would have sex with like any man outside of their man. You know what I mean? Like they were very, very good about being like monogamous and stuff like that. Monogamy makes the most sense to me. Talking about abortion and Trump are the most contentious topics. People's position on these topics reveal the state of their souls, for sure. Yeah, if you believe in abortion, you're something majorly fucked up with you, for sure. And I have no problem saying that. That's one of the most fucked up things that happens in the world today. You relied on the pull-out method. Raw primal cereal? Raw primal cereal. That's pretty funny. Audiobooks are good if you're traveling. Yeah, if you're driving. I do audiobooks sometimes. I listen to The Kingdom of God is Within You by Tolstoy. That's an excellent book, guys. I read that, or I listened to that on audiobook a couple months ago. That is a mind blower. I listened to that on audiobook, and it was so good on audiobook, I ordered the physical copy, and it's sitting on my mantle. Because it's just one of those books that I'm like proud to have on my mantle. Mind-blowing book, guys. If you want to get completely red-pilled on religion, Christianity, Jesus, and all that stuff, read The Kingdom of God is Within You by Tolstoy. And it's not like an anti-God or anti-religious book or anything like that. It's quite the opposite. It's very enlightening. Have you read Poppleton? No, I haven't. How much land you looking to buy? Dude, I'll be happy with a couple acres, but yeah, 5 acres will be plenty enough. I'm not looking to start, a major farm. I just want to get something cheap, because I don't have a lot of money. I mean, I have money, but I'm not loaded. I don't come from a wealthy family. I'm gonna have to take like a small loan. I'm considering just buying like a trailer home and throwing it on the grass, and building a barn with some chickens and just literally starting like from scratch. And so, yeah, if I have to get a couple acres, I'll get a couple acres. But we'll see, man. It depends on what kind of pops up. I might go around to some farmers and try to buy just a corner off their land. Be like, hey, can I buy 2 acres off the back patch here? You know what I mean? We'll just see how it works out. But I think 2 to 5 acres will be enough for just some goats and stuff, Jordan Peterson talks about enforced monogamy. Enforced, huh? That guy doesn't make any sense. Copying Sfarage on that beard. Yeah. Yeah, Sfarage invented beards. Like Frank Tuvano invented meat. Israel says, I'm against abortion, but my mom had to get an abortion to live due to a womb problem. Yeah, that there may be some small cases where that is necessary for sure. I won't ever be rich seems like a highway to hedonism. It sure does. Cam alert. I don't even acknowledge anymore. They don't even deserve my time. Don't even deserve my time. We're having too much fun over here. Can't let a couple party poopers poop on our good time. Favorite movie? That's a good question. Let's see. I really like the movie Dune. That movie Dune, D-U-N-E. I don't know what it is about that movie, man. I've always loved that movie Dune. I also like the movie, fuck, I can't remember the name of it now. Yeah, honestly, it's probably Dune. I like The Shining quite a bit, too. It's kind of disturbing, but I love the movie The Shining. There's a couple other movies I can't think of the names right now that I really like. But it's a good question. Oh, The Fountain. The Fountain is another really good movie too. How much is a trailer home? Man, you can get a nice trailer home for shit. Look at these things, man. Good old fashioned little double wide. Let's check these out. So yeah, check out these little double wide trailers here. Some of these are like legit houses, dude. Look at that. That's a trailer. That's a mobile home. This thing right here, mobile home, right? I think you can get these things for like 50 to 80 grand. Here's another one. Look at that. That's a fucking mobile home right there, guys. Come on. You're telling me that's not good enough for someone to live in? You're telling me you need a $200,000 house? Like, what is the point of doing that when you can just have this in the country, right? Here's another one. These are legit, man. Look at this thing. Double wide trailer with a separate garage. These are freaking huge, man. That's way big enough for a family. But I think they range from... Whoops. Sorry, guys. I don't know how that happened. I think they range from like 50 to 80 grand, something like that. I've always wanted to read the Dune book, yeah. What's up, Meep Meep? People are too set on their expensive bubbles and niceties. Yeah, and on top of that, you're out in the country away from everybody. I don't know. Yeah, people are all about status nowadays. It's all about status, dude. I think literally people just are afraid to the idea of living in a mobile home. They're like, just that whole idea, they're just like, oh man, that would make me trailer trash, right? It doesn't make any sense to me, you know? Do you think watching horror movies lets bad spirits into your mind? Yeah, I think it traumatizes you, for sure. Which lets evil infiltrate in your mind easier later on in your life when you're more traumatized. It puts you into fear, a fear-like state. It's not the best. Yeah, I don't watch horror anymore. I don't watch any violence at all anymore. I don't watch any violent movies, or sometimes I'll watch like a Western or something, but you know, other than that, I can't stand like action movies or anything like that. Yeah, all movies are satanic for sure. The only thing I can get into nowadays is like comedies and like Westerns. Goat milk, man. It's so good. I'm gonna go get some more goat milk. Be right back. Holy shit. You guys remember when I squirted that eyeball? That eyeball squirted all the way over here into my door frame. When I poked that eyeball, holy crap. That's how much pressure is in an eyeball. When I slit that eyeball with my knife, it squirted eyeball juice all the way back there. That's crazy, right? Every time I eat raw frozen pasture-raised liver, I get severe stomach pain for a week or two. That's kind of weird. Never got that. Huh. That's a good question. Yeah, commercials are terrible, dude. I can't stand them anymore. Especially now that I'm noticing that they're like taking white people out of commercials and stuff. And it's all like, I mean, nothing against black people or mixed people or anything, but it's the fact that they're removing white people from all the commercials, and it's all just like mixed and black people and like mixed couples, and just they're just all pushing their own agendas, man. It's so crazy. Yeah, I would say maybe try a different source of liver fallout and then go from there. Do a proper experiment. Isolate the problem. Try a different source of liver. If you have the same problem with that other liver, then you might have some, I don't know, man, some sort of reaction to actual liver, which is weird. I've never heard of that before. I mean, it's possible it's detox, but you'd have to, I don't know. Maybe it's something else you're eating too, though. What practices of the Native Americans you find interesting? Oh man, very interesting stuff. They had a death song that they practiced since they were children. So every person had an individual death song, and they would sing it right before death. It was very interesting. Other practices. Obviously the uses of like mushrooms and peyote and stuff like that I found very, very fascinating. Their spiritual practices towards God and stuff like that are very fascinating. And they would only go out and hunt the exact amount of food they needed, so they would never kill like more animals than they needed, and they would always eat everything off the animal, you know what I'm saying? So they were like very like respectful towards the land. They were very respectful towards the animals. They would like I need to reread that book again. It's very short and sweet, but they would give respects to the animal they just killed. They would sit down and like talk to it after they killed it and like thank him for, you know what I mean? They would like call him brother and stuff. Like, thank you, brother, for, you know, living your life and giving us this food. And they were like they were sweet people, man. And they were very connected with the earth and the animals and like God and everything. And it's just, you know, all the good stuff they say about Native Americans is true. When you read that Indian Bible or the Gospel of the Red Man, It's all firsthand accounts of people talking, getting this information directly from the Indians. They also practiced socialism. So, and I know this is like a big buzzword for people. Like people are like, no, we don't want socialism. Well, guys, believe it or not, these guys practiced tribal socialism, and it worked very well. Now, government socialism, that's not something that you want, but these guys had like, everybody had everything they needed. When something needed to be done, when work needed to get done, everybody got together and worked together and did it, like plowing a field or whatever, like, you know, raising a building or whatever they had to do, building a medicine hut. And the elders would like distribute the goods amongst the tribe. So it was like a socialistic society where it wasn't like capitalistic and it didn't have like money and stuff. It was like, it was governed by the elders, you know. When a man and a woman would meet and they were getting ready to like basically marry, they would go into the forest and go away for like 3 days on their own. That was like their honeymoon. There was an unaired electric car commercial that was filmed a year ago and it got pulled. I watched it and it was talking about how we should all just take a few months off of work. Plandemic. That's weird. Support white family farms, for sure. Definitely. Dell says, Weston, sometimes I feel like God played a joke on me to make me black. I hardly get along with black people. Most of them think I'm crazy because I do not think white privilege is real. I have had several dreams of being white. That's interesting, man. Hey, you're not the only one, man. One of my most favorite black people in the world is Jesse Lee Peterson. And he always jokes around. He says he's white on the inside and black on the outside. Just to trigger people, you know? But, yeah, I know what you mean, man. I know you're not the only black person that doesn't agree with most of what black people go along with, you know? And you don't believe that, like, I'm assuming that black people are your people, you know? It's like, and I'm the same way, like, white people aren't my people, you know? My people are people that are on the side of what's right, you know? People that are on the side of God. Those are my people. I don't identify with white at all. And black people shouldn't identify with black because it doesn't make any sense. It says nothing about your character. You can't just associate yourself with people that just look the same color as you because it says nothing about their character, their morals, their virtues, and I assume that's what you're talking about, you know? So, good for you, man. You sound like a pretty woke up dude. Darius has received a Red Man Bible in the mail the other day. Excited to read. Thanks for the recommendation. Yeah, sure. I believe I got that from... You're going to love that book, too. That's a good one, guys. It's one of the best books I've ever read, and it's super short. It's super short, so anybody can read it. I think I got that recommendation from, like, Weston Price's bibliography or something. I don't know. I love reading these interesting books and then looking in the bibliographies and then ordering those books. And I did that with even Gospel of the Red Man. I ordered some other books that were in the bibliography for Gospel of the Red Man. So I got more books to read that inspired the book Gospel of the Red Man. That's how you really get into interesting books, guys. You read the books that inspire the books and you keep following a trail down and seeing what inspired what, you know? P. Miller says, weird how only 1% of your subs tune into your streams. Yeah, the sub count's a weird one. Yeah, it's weird. Because only, I get like maybe 750 views or something on a live stream. And that's like one half. It's about 1/3 of my subs. So I think a lot of subs are like people that subbed like way back in the day and just forgot to unsub or something like that, so they don't really watch my channel anymore. Or maybe they were carnivore for a while and they were interested in it and they subbed me one day and then they just forgot. There's a lot of people like that, you know what I mean? But the way that I think this is the best way to establish like just a community, you know? We get to be the first to kneel. That's funny. We need to make our own community. The government only exists to pull our freedoms from under us. Yeah, we can try our best, you know what I mean? My channel is constantly under attack. I'm getting attacked from a million different angles on this channel all the time, guys. But luckily, you're looking at a fighter and someone that believes in fighting for the truth. And I know what the truth is, you know what I mean? I'm aware of what the truth is. So they can't necessarily shut me down because I'm not crossing any like lines or anything like that. I'm just speaking the truth about stuff. But at the same time, they hate it, you know, because a lot of it conflicts with what their morals are and their ideals are. And, you know, for instance, when I speak out the truth about race or when I speak the truth about women or abortion or whatever it may be, people hate that. People hate that stuff nowadays. So, yeah, my channel is constantly under attack. Like today, it took me 3 times just to stream. My stream wasn't connecting properly. It's never done that before. Just all different types of weird stuff happens that shouldn't be happening. And I get comments are deleted all the time. People make comments and YouTube doesn't even post them on my channel. Now I get a bunch of bots on my channel and all they say is, "Hey Wes, want to be friends? Hey Wes, want to be friends?" It's so weird, dude. Like, it's obvious that, you know, people don't get notifications for my streams. Just all this shit. So I'm trying my best to create an actual community outside of this virtual shit, right? And that's by creating the Primal Food Club and you know, doing live stream notifications through email. So now I'm connected to over probably 120 people directly through email now. You know what I mean? So, you know, that's how you really circumnavigate this stuff, is you create direct connections with people. Have I fermented cod liver? I have not. JLP is funny, man. What is a slut? Are you a slut? Read the book How to Heal Your Metabolism by Kate Deering. I think you'll find it cool. Thanks. I remember you mentioned that before. How to Heal Your Metabolism. What does she talk about in there? Yeah, getting out of your parents' house is big, man. Got to get on your own. Life really doesn't start to begin until you start getting out on your own like that. Most people who are live streamers get like 1% of their follows actually viewing at one time. It's pretty normal. Yeah, I guess that's a good point. At one time, it's pretty common. How Native people saw homosexuality. I don't know. I've heard some theories about the so-called like two-spirited. They believed in two spirits or something. Like they saw some people as androgynous. Some tribes maybe had that issue, but you'd have to ask them. Honestly, I haven't read too much on it. But I think since they were so close to God, and since God obviously didn't create homosexuality, it's something very much like man-made. I doubt that they were practicing that. Is there any way I can move out faster? You just got to save money. Hey, get a job. If you don't have a job, get 2 jobs. I've worked 2 jobs multiple times in my life, man, and that's the way you really get ahead. It sucks. You're going to be working all fucking day till your feet hurt, but you're going to be stacking up money like crazy, dude. If you get 2 jobs, you stack money like crazy. You know, get a job like I did. I was just cleaning cars during the day, and then at night I was washing dishes. Just get something brainless that doesn't stress you out too much. That's just bringing money in, rolling every I was getting paid twice a week every week. I was getting paid every Wednesday and every Friday every single week. Can you imagine that? 2 checks a week every week. And I was making like 50 to 60 grand a year just cleaning, you know? That's how I got on my own. You eat a lot of fruits. I eat 1 to 2 fruits a day. Mybros channel Krelixos needs some views. He would appreciate it. He has good content. What's his channel about? Don't underestimate the power of YouTube, social media. Yeah, they can. It's their platform. They can shut me down if they want. I don't know why they would, though. It's like, I don't necessarily hate them, but I don't see them as, like, good. What's your opinion on eating mutton fat? What bothers me is that toxins are stored in fat. I mean, if it's a part of the muscle cut, there's nothing wrong with that, you know? I mean, you probably don't have to go out of your way to eat a bunch of extra fat as long as you're eating like fatty muscle cuts. Toxins are stored in fat, but I think a lot of the worst toxins, like vaccines, are stored in like marrow and stuff, so you should be okay. How to kill candida. Just get on this diet and your body will naturally balance itself out. Candida is just a form of detox. And you got to just get on this diet so your system gets kind of, you get like a homeostasis going. It's really nothing to be afraid of. You just got to kind of bear with it until it resolves itself. I never get notifications. Yeah, nobody does. That's why I started emailing people. If you guys want notifications, shoot me an email. I'll email you. Fallout says, I was at one of JLP's events and he handed me the mic and asked me why I think everyone in California is crazy. I got stage fright. That's kind of funny. She talks about exactly how saturated fat being essential. Most veggies and fruits are not good for us. Only potatoes, carrots, and some fruits. Okay. Peter Thiel and Elon Musk. I'm not 100% sure who Peter Thiel is. Elon Musk seems like a wizard for sure. He's the space wizard. Weird guy. I've heard that there's homosexuality in nature, but never exclusive homosexuality. Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah, I think every animal naturally experiments with sexuality as you're just making your way into the world, you know? But yeah, to be exclusively like that is very strange. And also, we're not animals. Like I think we're animals plus. So we have the ability to resonate with God's will and follow His will. And animals don't necessarily have that kind of insight. So we have the ability to reason and understand that homosexuality is it's not right, you know. Obviously, because it's basically laughing in the face of procreation, which is what God wants you to do. Anything that like defies the order of God is not right, you know? Gottis wants to watch your live streams on time and live, but he was saying that the streams are too late for him. Maybe you can reach out to him. He's been here a few times, yeah. And I email, me and Gottis email about certain things every once in a while, so we stay in contact here and there. Will freezing raw milk destroy the nutrients enzymes? Maybe slightly, but it's not going to totally destroy it. I know some people that freeze their milk for like a month. If you got to, you got to do it, you know what I mean? Do you think millionaires are demon possessed? It depends. You know what I mean? I don't think just because you're a millionaire you're demon possessed, but a lot of times all that money, in order to get that kind of money, you got to subvert yourself, and you got to you got to sell your soul to a certain point. That's really like the only way you can get that kind of money. And so, yeah, there's probably some demons there. There's probably some evil there for sure. There's a good chance that most of them are, for sure, definitely. But there might be some people that run like there's a lot of blue-collared millionaires that live in my city, you know, and they just run like construction companies and stuff like that, you know what I mean? That's not necessarily evil, you know? What's homeostasis? I think that means just like balance. Are you red-pilled on a race? Oh yeah, I'm red-pilled on everything, dude. I don't think there may be some things I'm not aware of at this point, but as far as I know, I have been overdosed on red pills. God has woke me up on everything in life. There's really not that much stuff out there, guys. It's not like there's like millions of red pills out there. You just wake up to the truth one day and you see it all. You just see everything. What's your opinion on losing hair on a carnivore diet? Research shows that hair follicles need glycogen to grow. I never heard that. Never heard that before. I don't know. My hair seems to be fine. I actually got a little bit thicker. I would say wash your hair with raw eggs if you're having hair issues. Do women only care about looks? Some of them, but I don't think all of them. Have we tried elk meat or deer meat? Yeah, I had some elk heart the other day. I've had deer a bunch of times. I don't think I've ever had pheasant or wild turkey. No. The elk heart was fantastic. Yeah, I think a little bit of carbs they're okay, man. And I think a lot of people's bodies probably sometimes need them too. What did Aajonus think about tapeworms and roundworms? I think he said they were beneficial for, like, tapeworms at least were beneficial for a lot of people. Let's see what he said here. Tapeworms, $2.99. Parasites that live in the body are friendly and should be allowed to run their course. They eat weak, damaged, and decaying tissue. Yeah, that's the gist of it. Yeah, and a lot of times, like I said earlier, people get parasites from eating like unhealthy diets. So the key is just eating a healthy diet. You won't get parasites, guys. Yeah, wash your hair and your beard with eggs. Definitely. I don't wash my hair with anything. I don't feel the urge to do it. I don't think I need it. What would JLP think of the raw primal diet? You'd probably think it's pretty amazing, I'm guessing. But yeah, I don't know beyond that. It's hard to say. Any details about the meat trade deal you posted on Instagram? Yeah, I got like 16 people signed up so far. I got a good friend that says that they're hopefully going to work on like a website or a forum. And I'm pretty sure that's going to go down. If they can't get that going, maybe I'll get someone else to do it. But I think that they're going to get that going for me. And we'll be able to work on that together and make this like a group project. And you just got to email me your information, and then I will send out an email to everybody once a month that'll have everybody's information on it, what kind of foods you can get, what kind of foods you can offer, and then everybody will just be able to strike deals with local people or semi-local people on their own, and get what you want, And if you don't necessarily have food to trade, you can work out individual deals just paying people cash if you want. But there's going to be no business involved, so it's totally legal. This is all just on an individual basis, you know. Yeah, I got some goat milk, Animal Mother, from Dutch Meadows. So it's super good too. I can't stop drinking this stuff. I'm gonna go get another glass. Super good, man. Good energy off this stuff. Opinion on miscegenation. I don't know what that means exactly. You'll have to tell me what that means. I brush my teeth with water, and I just got a boar bristle brush. Boar bristle and bamboo brush in the mail. What about trichinosis from wild game? Hey, I've been told that trichinosis is a good thing. You want it. Yeah, just take an egg, put it in a bowl, and whip it up like you're making scrambled eggs. And then go in the shower and kind of pour a little bit in your hand, and then rub it through your hair and just wash it like shampoo. Bears fan says, "Sweet dude, thanks for thinking of it. It's a great idea." Thanks, man. Yeah, I've had a lot of people say that, and a lot of people were responding really positively to it. So I think it's going to be a really good thing. I knew that this channel was leading me towards something more than this. You know what I mean? Something more than just kind of live streaming and videos, which I'm fine with doing. But, you know, God's always got a greater plan. You know what I'm saying? And what's a better way? I mean, what's a better plan than connecting everybody together to get us all the foods that we need? That's ideally what we want, right? That's what we're in this for, right? Everybody just wants food. It's just a basic human desire, human need, you know, and we can fulfill that by making a food club, you know? It's just, I think it's a perfect idea. The shipping is going to be a little bit expensive for some people that are going across the country. But hopefully we can get enough people in the club to where you can find someone in your own state. You could find someone in a neighboring state, save $20-$30 on shipping versus getting all your stuff from like the East Coast if you're on the West Coast and stuff. Yeah, goat's milk is A2, man. A lot of people have great benefits with goat's milk, and now I know what they're talking about because I can just drink glass after glass after glass with no digestion problem. What's your take on the argument that people have been cooking meat for tens of thousands of years or more? So cooking natural? No, it seems honestly like, so just on a very logical level, God created raw meat in the form of raw meat. That's how God made it. Cooking is something, it's not natural. It's made by humans, you know what I mean? So anything that's made by humans is not natural. That's not natural at all. So putting an animal in a fire is not something God did. That's something that humans did. You know? It's arguably satanic. Putting an animal in a fire only to increase the tastes and just for your pleasures and satisfactions, that's arguably satanic if you think about it. So, you know, I'm not saying it is satanic. I'm just saying it's an argument. Miscegenation means race mixing. Oh, okay. I don't, let's see, how do I say it? Basically, I think it's a really selfish thing to do to your children if you're going to have children, like mixed children, because it makes it very confusing for them growing up and trying to assimilate into society. They often get made fun of. They often get rejected by both races, so they often feel alone, lonely and left out. Very selfish to do for your children. It's hard to say whether it's right or wrong, but I do think it's abnormal. It's hard to say whether it's right or wrong. You know what I'm saying? But I do believe it's abnormal and very selfish for your children. Don't only carnivorous animals have trichinosis? I don't know. It's a good question. Ever heard of gut dysbiosis from eating too much carbs and fat together? No, I have not heard of that. I've heard about oil pulling for sure. What does that do though? What kind of results do you get? I get Dutch metals delivered, yeah. At least I did this last time. Shipping was ridiculous. Shipping and handling was $95. So it's not something that I'm going to be doing all the time. I might start trying to make my own butter. And, I don't know, maybe start making my own cheese too. This cheese that I made turned out really good, man. I made some homemade cheese. I'll have to do a video on that, but I was really surprised how good it was. I vacuum sealed it, and I threw it in my fridge for like a month. And I just tried it last night, and it's freaking good. Just straight up A1 cow's milk. Didn't most tribes actually have trichinosis, said by Aajonus? I think I remember him saying something like that, yeah. Cooking is satanic. It's kind of weird. The more you eat raw meat, the more you're like, why are you burning the shit out of your meat, Why are you burning that animal? Have you ever seen a picture of like a pig with like a stick through its mouth getting spit roasted over a fire? Come on, man. Tell me that's not like a little weird? A little strange when you first see it? Gotta go with your intuitions, man. I never thought that looked appetizing, seeing a whole pig getting spit roasted over a fire. I never once ever have thought that was appetizing. I always thought it was very, very strange looking. Thoughts on the Bible saying eat bread and wine? Isn't it actually raw meat and blood? That wouldn't surprise me. That would make much more sense than bread and wine. Like, why are they eating so much bread? You know what I mean? I have heard that the word bread or manna, was it manna or bread? Bread means, that meant meat. While eating raw meat, do you keep it for 3-4 days or more so as to let the enzymes work and make the meat tender? A lot of times, yeah. I'll buy like a roast, and then I'll just slice off of it every day, and I'll just stick it back in my fridge. So there would be a couple days raw meat and like 3 to 4 days dry aged. Oh yeah, Apocalypto. That's one of my favorite movies too. The opening scene of all them hunting fires me up. That's such a good movie, man. Yeah, such a good movie. I need to order that one again. People who fuck their digestion up have trouble with raw meat, so they cook it to make it more easily digested. I think you're right. I think that's what's going on. Yeah. If you could have any question answered, what is it? If mine is how cooking became the norm. That's a good one. Mine would obviously be, where did God come from? That's like the ultimate mind blower. You guys in America are so lucky you can have just quality food delivered from the Amish farms. Yeah, we're pretty blessed, man. I agree. Cooking potatoes. I eat potatoes every once in a while. Like a couple times a week. I'll just cook up a potato, put some butter and some olive oil on it. If you crave cooked potatoes, then eat it. That's kind of my thing. My take on God is he was always there and that time is his creation. Yeah, that's what they say, but it's still a mind blower, dude. Our little human pea brains can't figure it out. Are you aware of udder milk delivery? I'm located in Nebraska. Yeah, so you guys are really lucky over there on the East Coast. I gotta pay $95 shipping to get Dutch Meadows delivered here. Any tips to gain weight? Lots of raw milk, lots of eggs, cheese. Drink a lot of raw milk at night. Like drink it right before you go to bed. Eat a meal before you go to bed, like a raw meat meal. But if you drink a lot of raw milk, that'll help you gain weight for sure. And start eating more raw meat, you know? Like if you're 5'10", you know, you could eat a pound to 2 pounds of meat, you know what I mean, a day. What's the difference between cooking potatoes and cooking meat? I think cooking like plants actually helps break down the fibers to make it like more digestible, you know? Whereas if you have the right kinds of enzymes in your stomach, like we should have naturally, like you shouldn't have to do that to meat, you know what I mean? But I think like fiber in vegetables is like naturally hard to digest, whereas meat is not. And I think that's honestly an argument for why cooking became a normal practice, because they would like make stews and stuff like that. They would throw old like rancid meat in there and then season it up. And then they would throw like vegetables in there. They would make these like big stews to try to feed like a bunch of people, you know? So cooking was a way to mask rancid meat back in the day. Yeah, dairy and eggs, man. Raw milk and eggs. I said eggs. What about gaining weight for people who are always skinny no matter how much they eat? Why is that? How old are you? That's my question. How old are you? Because when I was 17, I was about 170 pounds, 175 pounds, same height I am now. And then I got into my 30s and I became, actually like more like late 20s, I got up to like 230. So I put on 55 pounds from 17 to like 30. And then now I'm back down to like 205. But that's still 30 pounds. I put on 30 pounds since my teen years because my metabolism was just way higher back then, you know? Have you heard of osteophagy? It's when herbivores eat bones of animals. That's interesting. I'm 6'1", 300 pounds. I need to lose weight. I'm naturally maintaining weight by eating loads of raw meat and milk. Yeah, it's not really as much about race, guys, as it is about culture and character. You know, the issue when you throw a bunch of different races together into one place is you have like a culture war going on, and nobody wants to give up their culture. You know what I'm saying? Like, white people don't want to give up their culture. Black people don't want to give up their culture. So it has really nothing to do with like the pigment of your skin. That's like ridiculous. It has everything to do with culture and then character, you know? Because some, races have different character and virtues than other races. And so when you're mixing races together, you're getting a bunch of character conflicts going on. It gets kind of messy, you know what I mean? People are definitely best off being around their own people, for sure. They're happiest that way. Most people of the same race and culture are attracted to their own race, you know what I mean? So that's God telling you that we should be reproducing with people of our own, race, I guess you should say. But the problems come into when you're mixing culture and character, you know what I mean? There's different cultures, subcultures within cultures, You can take like the white culture and you can break it down into subcultures. You could say that there's the rich culture and the poor culture. When you mix the rich and the poor culture, you get the same kind of problems as you get when you mix up different race cultures, When you mix rich and poor people together, you get a lot of character differences, a lot of conflicts, stuff like that, Can you look up being underweight? Some people are underweight no matter what they eat. Maybe you have a tapeworm, man. Maybe you have an underactive thyroid. C, thyroid problem. Otherwise, it's an indication that not enough protein and fat are being eaten together. Eating plenty of meat with plenty of raw fat usually reverses this condition. Yeah, see, it's pretty easily... You shouldn't have a problem with weight as long as you're eating like fatty cuts of meat, like chuck roast and stuff all the time. Quickest way to gain weight, add 3 ounces of raw cream and 2 to 3 tablespoons of unheated honey to 32 ounces of raw milk and drink that throughout each day. That should be in addition to all other foods. There you go. It's really easily corrected, man. That's just there's no way that you should have a problem putting on weight if you're eating like chuck roast all day long and eating those like milkshakes that he's talking about, cream milk and honey. You just got to start stuffing your face, man. Stuff it. I'm not getting my food from Dutch Meadows, but I got this goat milk from Dutch Meadows. Guys, we're at 2 hours. I think I'm going to roll out here. I got to go take care of some stuff. It's a Friday. Got to go live life, get off the computer. But this has been another great edition of the Natural Human Diet, the BBC diet, brains, balls, and cheese. Appreciate everybody chiming in and the super chat from Dell. And we'll stay tuned. I'll do another one this weekend. Everybody, if you want to join the Primal Food Club, email me. If you want to get on my live stream notification list, email me, 88668protonmail.com. All right, y'all. God bless. Take it easy. Have a good weekend.